The day-long forum to help small businesses continues in Washington, chaired by Secretary Geithner. It continues right now in D.C. They're trying to find ways for small businesses to get the financing needed to grow their businesses and thereby grow jobs. And Secretary Geithner called on banks to get back to the business of lending. What we wonder is, has Obamonomics been good for small business to this point? Joining us with their respective views, Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas is back with us, and Chris Gunn is Director of Communications at the American Small Business League. Thank you both for joining us. Chris Kofinas, has Obamonomics been good for small business?
I think it's
been how?
Well, I think it's been as good as you can expect given the fact that President Obama inherited a series of economic crises that forced his administration to, one, stabilize the market, and basically then move on to try to address, to spur demand.
It's a rather tepid endorsement,
stimulate.
Chris.
Well, it's not a tepid endorsement at all. I mean, if you look at, for example, what the president has done in terms of expanding SBA loans, in terms of focusing on community investments, in terms of expanding the expensing that small businesses can make, which is going to save about $1 billion in small business taxes. I mean, I think he has done as much as you can expect given the series of crises. I think the criticisms are just kind of unfair.
Chris Gunn, I'd like you to load up your bazooka and tell us, are you attending the event today?
We're not attending the event today.
And why is that?
I think we've been silenced by omission, to be totally frank. We've been a dissenter. We haven't been one of those organizations that's been on the Obama administration side on a lot of these small business issues.
Dissenting on what? I mean, you don't want to grow jobs? You don't want to grow the businesses? Or
no, actually,
what's there to differ?
Actually, we do want to grow jobs. We just don't think the Obama administration has done a very good job of implementing policy or legislative reforms that would do that. The focus hasn't been on small business. The rhetoric has, but the action hasn't followed it.
You also think he has not made good on some of the promises that were made on the campaign trail, but that's not unusual sometimes when a president does get into office.
Well, when small businesses are the backbone of our nation's economy, they're responsible for more than 50% of our GDP. Some think up to 97% of net new jobs and 90% of innovation. Small businesses literally are the backbone of our nation's economy.
Yeah, but I don't understand specifically what is the Obama administration not doing that you would have them do on, regarding small business?
They need to stop the diversion of federal small business contracts to large corporations, an issue that 15 federal investigations have found that Fortune 500 corporations are receiving billions of dollars a year. They need to restore the SBA's budget and staffing. During the Bush administration, it was cut by more than half. They need to implement the 5% set-aside goal for women-owned firms.
Chris Kofinas?
Those are just...
I mean, I don't know about those specific positions, but I don't think that's anything there the Obama administration would necessarily disagree with. I mean, I think when you kind of, again, step back and look at the facts of what this administration has had to deal with, does everyone realize, Democrats, Republicans, that small businesses are the engines of our economy? Of course. That's going to create the next generation of jobs? Of course. But in terms of both the stimulus from health care reform, both directly and indirectly, those are programs and initiatives that are going to help small businesses. And now I think when the president comes back from Asia, you're going to see another renewed effort to spur job growth. And small businesses are going to be a critical part of that. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, Chris Gunn, I was surprised that you did not mention letting the tax cuts expire will hurt, two-thirds of that will hurt small business owners, and also health care, penalizing small businesses that have to offer it and don't.
Well, let's talk about health care for a second. Small businesses spend about 18% more for health insurance that they offer their employees.
I was going for the other Chris there. Chris Gunn, let him in one more time.
No, Chris, and I appreciate your point, and I think that you're right. I mean, those are really pertinent issues, but when it comes to our perspective, we're looking at an issue that we think is up to $100 billion a year. That's $100 billion with a B, an issue that hasn't been addressed so far. During the transition period, Obama's transition team said that every $1 billion spent on federal infrastructure projects would create 40,000 jobs. They haven't solved this problem. Right. We think it would create up to 4 million new jobs, something that needs to be addressed.
The forum continues today. We'll monitor it and see what comes out of there. Both of you, Chris, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.